Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 3, Episode 8, Meridian. So this was a pretty good episode. It was kind of interesting. To be honest with you, I actually prefer the subplot to the main plot. So I'm going to just kind of blitz through the main plot real quick. It's an interesting story. We see some of the ops crew going through the Gamma Quadrant, which I think this is the first time they've gone to the Gamma Quadrant since encountering the Dominion, and they've found this planet just magically appears, and it turns out that it's kind of not in phase with our reality. And so again, this kind of touches on like the multiverse of the Star Trek franchise, where we've already seen like the mirror universe. Well, this planet comes to our reality for a while, and then it phases out and it goes to a non-corporeal reality. And it kind of just bounces back and forth, although every time it comes back to our reality, it's a little bit less. And so every 60 years, it goes back and forth. Whereas like this time, it's only here for like 3 days or something. And the reason, the downside about this episode, for me at least, was when the Defiant crew encounters it. It's like Cisco, Bashir, I think O'Brien's there, Dax, whatever. Dax instantly falls in love with one of these people that are on the planet. And at first it's kind of cute. It's kind of interesting because he's like, well, how far down do your spots go? And Dax just like takes a drink and she's like, all the way. And it's kind of funny. Like it's a little cute. And then like by the time you get to the end of the episode, I'm just going to kind of jump to the end. They find a way for the planet to go back to its other reality where it's non-corporeal. And then when it comes back, it can actually stay for like 30 years. So these people can actually like start having a family, start reproducing and expanding their civilization. But it's not going to work this time. So they have to go and then come back for after 60 years, and then they can start extending their stay. Well, Dax just falls in love with this guy, and at first he's going to come back with her, and then she decides to go stay with him for the 60 years. When we get to the end of the episode, it turns out that her being there throws everything off, so she has to come back, and she's like super depressed about it. And like for me as a viewer, I was like, seriously, like you met this guy like a day ago and you're ready to spend the next at least 60 years of your life. Like it was like watching a Disney movie. Like you can't fall in love with him that fast. It does not work. It was like a Frozen moment. But so for whatever reason, that part of the story just didn't gel with me. Like, I loved the fact that this planet's going back and forth, and they were trying to find a way to help it, but, like, that's all I needed. I just needed the Federation to be like, we're gonna help you. I didn't need Dax falling in love with a guy and willing to spend the rest of her life with him. It just didn't work for me. So you got all of that, but then the subplot, like, I loved the subplot. The subplot made this episode for me. So Jeffery Combs makes his Star Trek debut in this episode. So Jeffery Combs is a fantastic actor. He's amazing. I feel like most people know him from being like the Reanimator series, or if you guys are Transformers fan, which I am a huge Transformers fan, he played Ratchet in the Transformers Prime series. So he's a great actor. He's super recognizable. He's one of those like, I know him actors. So he's also very well known for being in Star Trek. For Deep Space Nine specifically, he plays Brunt and he plays Weyun, the Vorta. So those are his two main roles. And then when we get to Enterprise, Sharon, I think is how you say his name, he plays the Andorian. Well, in this episode, he makes his debut as Tyron, I think. It's just some random alien, some random character, which is kind of funny because he orders an Andorian ale at one point, and it's like, oh, you play an Andorian later on. So I don't know, the little things make me laugh. So, anyways, before this, even in the original, or the Next Generation, when it came out, he auditioned for the role of Riker, which coincidentally enough, Jonathon Franks directed this episode, and Jeffery Combs auditioned for it. So, I don't know, I felt like that was some poetic justice or something. But, so he makes his debut, and evidently he's madly in love with Kira. And the episode starts with he's asking Kira out, and Kira's like drinking Ractigino or whatever with Odo, and she's like, Odo's my lover. We're madly in love. And Odo's like, okay, which this is kind of one of those starts. We've seen Odo show interest in Kira, but this is one of those instances where like it's very upfront how he feels about her. And the Tyrant or whatever gets like super upset and he makes a deal with Quark where he's going to buy a holo image of Kira to use on the holo suite, which again, this is something we've seen from the Next Generation, specifically the Barclay episodes. And it's just kind of funny. Like, it's a fun episode to watch Quark. Like, first he's like, oh, Kira's my 1 millionth customer. We just got to you have to go to the holo suite and get your picture taken. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And then like, he's like trying to get a picture like between like Kira walking through the station and stuff. And eventually she finds out and gets all upset. And then when Tyron finally goes in to get this holo suite of Kira, it's Kira's body, but with, well, it's not actually her body, it was a stunt double, but whatever. It's Kira's body with Quark's head on top, which it's a great episode. Like, that's the part of this episode that I love. Like, I could have done a whole episode with just that. So, for those who have seen this episode, which story did you like more? Which interacted with you? Did you like the planet disappearing with Dax falling in love so quickly? Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's a great storyline, and for whatever reason, it just didn't gel with me. Like, did you guys like that story, or did you like the Quark and Kira story? So, go ahead. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys for the subscriptions. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for everything. You guys are all amazing. I will see you guys next time for a pretty good episode, like a great episode of Defiant.